Hey guys, welcome to episode 9 of the MotorMarvel. Sal, I've got a few exciting things coming up, so looking forward to having a chat about some news today and some things coming up in the week. And look, just want to say a quick thank you to some of our sponsors. So obviously Exhaust Notes.
Hard Hat Watches. These are cruising, mate. I've been loving these. I'm loving my watch. To be honest, just a quick one before we get into the talk about what's going on in the car industry at the moment. Just some news in general. This hard hat watch is incredible. Mine lasted 2 weeks without a charge.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Yeah, wow.
So I'm really loving it.
Yeah, if anyone's interested, boys, jump on. We've got a link below that'll give you a 10% off, I think it is.
10% discount.
Yeah, so jump on that, boys, because these things are awesome.
Other than that, let's get into the news. Okay, so we're going to start with Hyundai.
Yep, one of our favourite brands here, Sal, that we always love talking about.
Correct. Look, it's a breath of fresh air with what Hyundai is doing. So apparently they're going back to physical buttons, which...
Well, this has been a gripe of yours in a couple of cars, right? I know you've had a few, and they have these, digital display ups and downs for temperature and other things.
Everything.
And when you're trying to do it, when you're driving, right, you don't want to be looking over. You want to be able to...
distracting as hell.
Tactile, right?
Yep.
You need to be able to feel that, so you're not distracted. You're driving, you can tactilely feel, you can glance, but... with these digital displays and taking away the buttons, you really got to look and pay attention to it. It's distracting.
It's distracting. And Hyundai hasn't really, even with their recent cars, they've got some buttons, but most of it's mixed, right? Yeah. There are some car manufacturers like Audi, for example, that have a full screen. Yeah. You saw that in the SQ7. Look, it looks nice. I'm not going to say it doesn't.
It
looks nice, looks
tidy.
clean, looks tidy. And, the graphics are clear enough. But the haptic feedback buttons aren't as responsive as a physical button or a knob. It is annoying. You have to look down. You have to go through. And some cars, you even have to go through settings. And it's
annoying.
It annoys the crap out of me. Yeah. And it's actually pretty dangerous.
Look, I think...
you're looking away from the road to a screen to then change the air conditioning. Why?
Yeah, it's more of a distraction than an actual additive, I think, to a car.
Correct.
Yeah, it looks cool, but really practically,
nah.
So, look,
I think this is promising, and look, I've heard apparently, now don't mark me on this, I've heard apparently there's rumours that in Europe, for example, the who runs the NCAP there, right? They're pretty much saying that they've seen a drastic increase in accidents due to screens being used for, and they're trying to put in a law where they're trying to tell manufacturers to go back to buttons and stuff.
You know what's funny, right? Is we look at this, and years ago when we had all these buttons and everything, everyone would be like, oh, it's cool, let's get digital displays and let's get digital this, and how awesome would this be? It's funny how a lot of things these days, all this technology, we're progressing, but in some ways we're also realising progression in some areas isn't actually a good thing.
No.
And I get it, and I think it's good we're pushing boundaries again.
100%.
We're trying to innovate new tech and new things in cars, but on a lot of ways, look, again, we talk electric, but we go down this road of progression and we go electric, and then we kind of look back and go, maybe we're missing some internal combustion, maybe we're missing some manuals. These old school things that we loved and enjoyed, I feel like we're missing them a little bit and we're going back to some of them.
And what I feel like is actually happening, and I don't know about you guys, and what I feel is happening in this world that we're living in is people getting worse at driving. And it's the reason being, and no, seriously, it's because of all this tech, all this safety tech. People, the younger generation, for example, will never know what not having a reverse camera is like.
Or blind spot
monitoring. Or sensors. We didn't have that.
Well, you grew up on your own. What was your parents' first thing? Yep, check your blind spots all the time.
Yep.
These days, you're just driving.
And you reversed, and you had to be careful because you're scared. Now they've got we're getting to a point, and I agree with Nick, where tech is obviously a great thing. Yep. It's helping us advance, but it's also making us not in terms of...
I think certain areas, right?
But it's just
I think that's where we're learning. But that's part of it, right? What do you call it? Test and trial, And that's what we're doing, right? And I think we're starting to get to some of these where we're like, okay, tech in this area, amazing. Tech in some areas, okay, maybe let's reverse a little bit or let's adjust here.
Yeah.
And I think, again, pros to Hyundai for realising this and actually making some changes to try and find that right balance between tech, safety, and having something that has a nice feel, nice touch.
I think we had it down packed before 2020. No joke. When we had we had
a little bit of both.
We had both. We had infotainment screens that did a lot of stuff, which was great, and then we had a digital driver's display inside two physical tachos, right? So you had your speedo and your rev counter. You had two physical dials, and then you had the screen in the middle. That was perfect. Yeah. My Skoda, I've got a Skoda VRS, right? For the family. That is a 2019 Skoda VRS wagon, right? And honestly, I love the interior in that. I love the fact you've got your infotainment screen, physical knobs and buttons for your climate controls, even though it's got little screens on the climate controls.
That's fine.
It's fine. And then you've got two analog tachos. You've got one for the speedo, one for the for your revs, like everyone knows. Yep. And then you've got your digital driver display right center and back. Why can't we go back to that? Like we've even seen customers of Porsche complaining about their latest 911, which is a full screen.
Yeah. And I think, again, I had on my M2, the new one, all my climate control stuff was on my digital display. And I had to try and find it and use, I had no response to it. It was just a digital touchscreen.
Yeah.
And so I had to kind of keep glancing at my, up and down in my temp as I go. Whereas, say the GLB, for example, I actually still have some digital display, yes. Yeah. Some up and down noticeable buttons. And I can go click, 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 knowing it's 2 up and click, click, it's 2 down. Without having to actually look and pay attention.
I just feel like, and
that mix, I think, is important.
A lot of cars, like Volkswagen, for example, done it terribly. I'm sorry if you're a Volkswagen fan, but like they've got haptic feedback buttons on the new Golf on the steering wheel.
Have you?
I've used it. It's terrible. Okay. They don't respond correctly. Everything's digital. Everything. The steering wheel, the climate control, everything is screens, and it's too much. It's yuck. And this gives you onto the point of there are some. I'm not saying electric cars are bad, but there are some electric car manufacturers that just put screens everywhere, and it's like Hyundai did the perfect. Again, sorry for making Hyundai being the best of the best, but they are doing well. And with the Ioniq 5, there are physical buttons, and then there's screens. But then you go to a Tesla, and it's just one big screen. I'm sorry, for me, that's too much. Yeah. I get if you're like being minimalist.
Look, I think it's again. These guys, and I think it will start to come back around to find that balance.
There needs to be a balance.
Yeah, you still want. It's lovely having all the digital, all the customization, all the changing, great. But you still need some core things for safety and for practicality that are just still buttons.
100%.
And look, I think, Honda's having a look at that. Obviously, going to change some things in the future. Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Same. All right, Sal. So me being a bit of a Porsche man, I saw some recent news. This is a bit of an interesting one. So they're talking here that
it is sad.
Yeah, they're killing the 4-litre engine. Not going to surpass 2026. So obviously that's been their flagship engine for many cars and many models for a long time.
In the motoring enthusiast segment, where all of us know cars, this is how we know Porsche for this.
Well, I mean, this is what everyone loves, right? You buy the GT3 RS, you buy these premium cars because of this engine, really, because it's it's got the most power per literage of any engine ever built.
Correct.
It
sounds amazing.
Sounds amazing. Performs amazing. So it ticks all the boxes. Do you think they're killing it because they've got something else in the pipeline?
I think it's emissions. I think it's we're moving down. We've seen this. We spoke this about last week with John, right? With Ferrari, and McLaren and all the other manufacturers, they are downsizing motors in their flagship models.
Yeah, but look, Porsche's, they're still what appears to be committed to performance cars. If they're not going to keep this sort of engine in there, they're going to have to go turbocharging.
Yeah.
And as everyone knows, we've still got a GT2 RS, right?
Yeah.
But it's not really seen as the car you want because everyone wants the high-revving 4-litre 6.
Which brings me on to the fact, why don't all these manufacturers just adopt what Bugatti did with a V16? Use a V16 naturally aspirated and pair it to a hybrid system. Why not just keep making 4-litre naturally aspirated flat 6s and just hybridize it? If you want to meet emissions, just hybridize. Why are we moving? This is what I don't understand. I would love for someone, if you're someone out there is listening, if you know the answer to this, why all these manufacturers taking away their V8s, their V12s, and downsizing engines and turbocharging? Why not just hybridize the naturally aspirated? Bugatti's done it, so why don't everyone else do it?
Yeah, look, I guess everyone's just trying to tick that box of the most power output for, least amount of emissions, least amount of petrol.
But at the same time, say for example, with the 911 GT3, say you hybridize it, right? One, you're going to get more power. Which is awesome. Yes, the car will get a bit heavier, but mate, Porsche with their boffins down there, they'll be able to do some sort of weird thing to make it light. Who knows, right? They're crazy, right? So yes, it'll get heavier, but it would be more fuel efficient.
But you know what this is sort of counter to?
What?
If they're going to do synthetic fuels. If they're going to make...
That's another thing.
Right, if they're going to make...
And it does work.
Right, if Porsche's invested all this money, all this time, and they're making a synthetic fuel...
Yeah.
then why would you kill this?
Yeah. Because it's right. Because it's pretty counterintuitive. Because what's going to happen is you're like, all right, get rid of like this. Everyone, like all the manufacturers said by 2030 we're going to go fully electric. It's the same thing. All these manufacturers are going to downsize their engines, and then all of a sudden synthetic fuel's going to come out, and they're going to be like, why did we stop?
I don't know. So look, I think it's something we'll keep an eye on. Look, it says here, confirmed the turbo will go hybrid in 2026. The GT3's path to compliance remains uncertain, as hybrid or turbo options risk aligning it too closely with the other 911 models. So,
well, look, I don't disagree with the turbo going hybrid. The Turbo S, because
like, agreed.
But I don't really see it.
You couldn't turbo a GT3 though.
No,
you've got the 2RS.
It doesn't make any sense, right?
You wouldn't.
The only option I can see what they're going to do is they're going to either downsize the engine to a 3.5 litre and hybridize it, or because you're right. Why would you turbocharge it? You just
I don't see why they'd turbocharge a GT3.
It's a bit silly. Like I don't. Who knows? I hope they find some sort of solution.
Yeah.
But this is kind of sad.
I think it's a little sad, but I think it's one to keep an eye on. Let's see what it's Porsche. I have in the back of my mind that they will do something very good.
Yeah.
This seems a little sad at the moment, but I think there must be something on the horizon that they think is going to be better or going to tick this box. So I think let's just keep an eye on it and see where it goes.
Yeah. Okay, so Mercedes has finally listened to all of us. And they've put the V8 back in the CLE 63.
We did talk about this on a couple of episodes before that it was talked about, and we were hoping it was true. It looks like it's been confirmed. So from us, super exciting. They've done what we have all hoped and thought was the right thing to do. And proof's in the pudding when we looked previously at those C63 sales. And I think now they've gone, oh crap, let's do this.
A V8. So I got sent this via multiple people. So shout out to everyone that sent me this. But it is exciting. It is exciting that Mercedes has turned around and understood, wait a second, our customer base loves our V8s and our rear-wheel drive sports cars. Like a wire changer.
Oh, and I think, it is exactly... They tested the C63.
Correct.
It was obviously...
crap.
Look,
no. Like we said, it's not a crap car.
Correct.
It's actually a gorgeous car. It's a gorgeous car.
Correct.
It just doesn't make any sense where... the baby version, the CLA, is pretty much exactly the same without a hybrid system.
And the market that bought C63s were people wanting V8s
that could do
drive
skids.
And could do skids. Yeah, and look, that's just been the demographic for these type of cars for a long time. And maybe they were thinking, right, with the new 63 that maybe we'll change that and, maybe it'll get adopted by a different demographic or, there might be some success elsewhere. But I think they've seen the success that they might have been hoping for wasn't there. And they've reverted.
One thing I don't want to spend too much on this subject, but one thing I don't understand is with Mercedes and AMG, when they were doing research for that C63, didn't they go on Instagram or on social media, type in C63 AMG and look at all the reels of the people doing burnouts, doing fishies, taking them around on tracks and just don't care about track times. All they're caring about is the biggest cloud of smoke that they could possibly create.
Look,
wouldn't you just go, wait a second? That is our demographic.
Yeah, and I presume they must have been trying to change it. Or hoped that this new C63 might have developed a new following somehow, right? It was based No, it obviously didn't, but it was based a lot off the F1 tech, right? Where they took a lot of that and they went, well, let's do this. And it is a phenomenal feat of engineering, that car. It has some amazing systems in it. It is really fantastic what they've done. And maybe they're hoping with all the interest in the F1 and with that growing or not, that maybe there was a base of people there that might have been adopting these.
Obviously it wasn't.
Proof's in the pudding. It wasn't adopted.
It goes back to what you said at the start of the podcast, Nick. We need balance.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just balance. Sometimes you can't go all the way tech because you just lose everyone, but then you can't go too old school because then you don't accommodate for the new generation.
Again, we've mentioned this across a few podcasts, but the people that are doing it right at the moment are the companies that are trying to find those balances.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of hit and miss with a bunch of them, I think, at the moment, because we're in a pretty interesting time in the motoring world. We've got the EVs coming in. We've got a lot of tech being developed. We've got a lot of different brands hitting the market. We've got old brands that aren't doing quite so good. We've got new brands that have been very successful. And I think a lot of these manufacturers are trying to find these balances in these different model ranges. And there's going to be some that are going to come out on top and some that are going to struggle to keep up. And I think,
And there's some that are doing completely awful rebrandings, which we're going to talk about next.
Yes. All right, guys, do we have a treat for you? So we have here a fantastic new ad for Jaguar. So give us 30 seconds, have a watch of this, and let us know what you guys think. Hell is this? Enjoying this, mate?
All right.
So
I know we can't swear on the podcast because it's not allowed, right? But what the F is that? Like, how can you go from a manufacturer that was known for its racing pedigree, for being one of the core strong brands, being
very
one of
much so.
England's biggest, it was one of the biggest in England, right?
100%.
To becoming now, what is this?
Also, did you see a car?
No,
I didn't see a car. I'm not quite sure what that
the F is that.
is. That trying to sell us on? It looks like a fashion show more than anything else to me. I was looking at some very interesting costumes there, but I didn't see anything that made me want to buy
A Jaguar.
a Jaguar. I didn't see any models.
Nope.
I didn't see any. I don't know what they're trying to.
If they put a car in there, it kind of would have made sense.
If they'd had some maybe sleek, new, sexy design of a car,
Yeah.
and, go, ooh, and they've got some, this sort of happening and whatever else, I'd go, okay, some cool new models coming out, or they're doing something exciting. Yeah. I watch this and I go, it's a fashion show.
They deleted everything off their Instagram. So all the history of Jag gone. So it's like they've completely gone, let's just ignore all the history of Jaguar.
And start again.
It started... Look, I'm not against rebranding. Not at all. You've got to become modern, right?
Yeah.
And certain manufacturers have done it. Audi's done their logo, their rings. They've rebranded the rings.
I actually quite like
the new rings. It looks nice. So Kia did it. Hyundai, I think, have done a little bit of a re-ramp. Yeah. But Kia did a big one. Kia did the big change. It looks great.
It looks great. Agreed. But look, maybe there's more to come.
I don't even care if there's more to come. This has made me go, what? I forgot about Jaguar now.
Look, this was only released a day ago.
And everyone is in that uproar. Everyone is talking about this.
Yeah,
this is disgusting. I'm like, honestly, it is atrocious to the motoring world because it's disregarding the history of Jag.
And I think that's sad. I mean, maybe they have their reasons, but I think Jag has a long history, and like you mentioned, has a lot of pedigree as a brand.
Yeah.
And to think that maybe they're just wiping the slate clean and starting again seems...
I wouldn't be surprised now if Jaguar starts moving down the road of just making mass production cars. That's what this looks like. It looks sad. It looks like they're going to start making fashionable just cars in general. Maybe SUVs and all this stuff. And they're not going to...
Look, maybe... Let's keep an open mind, Sal. This is very interesting. I don't think either of us are on board at the moment.
No.
Let's keep an eye on Jag. Maybe there's something that's going to come that might pique our interest and go, okay, it makes a bit of sense now. But at the moment, we are both... very confused.
We're very confused. And just to finish it off, we were talking a lot about last week of brands finding their identity. What is this?
I'm not sure what it is at the moment. So,
it's
not really any identity to me.
No.
I can't see anything to do with cars
in that.
No,
if it's fashion, cool. They've nailed it. Awesome. Looks crazy. Looks out there.
Interesting.
And funky. But in terms of cars, I don't get what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Well, let's see how we go.
Do I have a treat for you guys? So, if you are a massive Commodore fan...
This is pretty special.
This is pretty special. Holden Commodore fan. So, people from not Australia. Or if you're from the UK, Vauxhall. And if you're from America, Chevy. Right? But, as we all know, Holden stopped production in Australia a long time ago. It was a very, very sad ending for a lot of Australians. And they finished it off with a couple of beautiful, stunning Commodores, which kind of was annoying because the last Commodores they made were the final Commodores that anyone would go, I'd actually consider buying that over a European car.
Correct. They were some great cars.
They were great. They looked great. They sounded great. They just were gorgeous. And then they stopped production. But I'm not going to digress in that.
Yep.
What we have here is a one-of-one GTSR. Right, so to pay homage to the original GTSR, that was the final Commodore that they made a GTSR version of, and there was only one of one in this colour, yellow.
Yep.
Now, why I'm talking about this, guys, is that I know the owner of this car.
Yeah, so we got some exciting news here.
So I'm going to interview him about this specific car.
Oh, I can't wait.
And everything about it.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty awesome, guys. So make sure you tune in because this is going to be coming up. It's pretty special, pretty interesting.
Pretty special. So it's one of one. Just remember that it's one of one. So there's no other one. This is it. And
being an owner of a one-on-one car like this, I mean...
That makes you feel...
You'd be feeling pretty special, right?
And I'll tell you the craziest thing is, how did we find out about this certain car? At our Cars and Coffee event, while we're packing up, while finishing up the night, this thing rocks in, drives in, just out of nowhere, drives in, parks at the back. And I get pulled up by one of our attendees, right? Sal, you've got to come check out something.
Yeah.
So I stop doing what I'm doing, and I walk over. And I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
No
Couldn't
way.
believe it, right?
I couldn't believe it. First of all, I thought this came out in yellow, the GTSR. I thought they came out in yellow. So straight away, I knew it was a rare Commodore from the get-go, right? The last of its kind. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, it's rare. It comes out in yellow. It's probably... when I was told it was one of one, I was like, for this to rock up at our Cars and Coffee event... And I'm sorry that I didn't get an interview there and then, guys. We didn't have time.
Special to have it. I mean...
Pretty special to have it there.
We got to see this thing in person. Right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So very, very excited to do a review of this. And like we said on the previous podcast, we're starting to delve down that side of the channel 100%. Of interviewing owners.
Again, I think we mentioned this on one before. If you guys have something special like this, absolutely hit us up on Instagram. Send us a message. We'd love to come meet you. Come have a look at your car. Yeah, have a chat. We're here, motoring enthusiasts ourselves. And
And this deserves to be shared with every Holden enthusiast, like 100%. Other than that, Nick, tell them about what's happening next week.
Yeah, so look, I'm pretty excited. I think you are as well, Sal. We've had this known for a couple of weeks and obviously mentioned to you guys, but we've got our track day coming up. So
next week, sorry, this is getting filmed on Friday.
Yes, but...
And then the track day is going to happen, it's going to be released the Wednesday. But we do have a track day.
We do. So this is, exciting. We've obviously got the i30N from Hyundai. Sal, obviously not being much of a... not much experience, I'd say, but very eager person to get out there on the track. And myself with obviously a bit more experience on the track. We're both excited to get out there, have a go at this.
It's just going to be good because we're going to see two different perspectives. Yeah. I've had some track experience, but just never been on Sydney Motorsport Park. I've been in a car, thankfully, around there, but I've never done the track itself. Yep. So it's going to be a big, big experience for me.
Yeah, and look, we're going to have some footage of the car, footage of the event. Yep. Sal's going to jump in. We're going to do a bit of in-car stuff as well with both of us, a bit of reviews, see what we can do out there, and at the end, just have a heap of fun.
Yeah.
So
you've got
keen to get out there.
Nick's perspective. Nick's got a great history of racing, and he's driven a lot of cool cars. The top tier would have to be the GT3 RS.
Yeah,
so he knows that track well down pat. So you're going to see a lot better track time from him than from me. Yeah. But we are excited. We can't wait for the event. Big shout out to Hyundai Australia, Hyundai N2 Australia, and Exhaust Notes Australia for the three of them for just giving us this opportunity. So we're very, very appreciative of that, and we cannot wait to test it out. Yeah. It is a manual.
I'm excited. I haven't actually driven a manual in a little while, so I'm pretty keen to get back in one and give this thing a go. So.
It is pretty exciting. It's a manual. Other than that, we have been talking about a potential Cars and Coffee event in the start of 2025. Yep. So very excited about that.
Keep an eye on socials, guys. Yeah. Obviously, we'll put it up and love anyone to attend.
Yeah, and then Nick, we are still in talks of a potential skid pan day, aren't we?
Yeah, we're still talking about it. Obviously, I try and iron out a few things at the moment to pull it together. But that'll be some more content as well if we can get something going there. So, yeah.
Perfect. Other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Other than that, if you want to listen to it on the go, we do have a Spotify, so go check it out. The link down below. Jump on Spotify. If you're in your car driving around, jump on Spotify, have a listen, guys. And just again, massive thanks. Exhaust Notes, Hard Hat Watches. Everyone. Fantastic, guys, for our sponsors with this. And just don't forget to like and subscribe. That's it. And we'll catch you on another episode of the MotorMarvel Podcast. Thanks, guys.